before we start, we want to send some reminders before we get started today to please have something to write with and on. Pencil, paper, tablet is fine. This is going to be an interactive workshop. There will be moments when you will be asked to jot some notes down and then share out with the rest of the group, either unmuting yourself, we welcome that, or using the chat, which we will be monitoring. We also, because this is going to be an interactive workshop, would love to encourage as many of you to have your cameras on. We want to really be able to give full attention to Lynn and Veronica. So if comfortable, of course, no pressure. If comfortable, it's always a great way to show face, get to know new employers for new opportunities.
It won't be quiet for long.
Welcome, welcome, everyone. We are going to get started in just a moment. Welcome to those who are just joining to Creating Demand for Your Talent as a Freelancer. All right, everyone. I want to officially welcome you to Creating Demand for Your Talent as a Freelancer. We are going to get started. I am so delighted to be here with you on this Friday afternoon during the lunch hour. My name is Basanti Miller. I am Assistant Director of Student and Industry Connections in the Career Center here at DePaul, joined by my colleague Valerie Robbins, who is also an Assistant Director of Student and Industry Connections. The two of us will be here supporting Lynn and Veronica, who are here to talk to you all about freelancing and the work that they do. We will be monitoring the chat. We encourage as many of you to turn your cameras on and mute yourselves as possible. And we really want this to be an interactive workshop. And so there will be moments when you will be asked to write some notes down and share out with the rest of the group. Having your cameras on is a great way to get to know Lynn and Veronica, who have opportunities for career development in the future. I do want to share with you all that this workshop is brought to you by a larger initiative called Your Network, Your Narrative. This initiative is just concluding today. We have had 2 full weeks of different events. And throughout this initiative, students have had access to a mix of virtual events and resources, career exploration treks, and in-person industry nights, all focused on media, film, and communication industries. Whether students were just starting to explore or were ready to make connections, this initiative offered opportunities to learn, engage, and shape your career story. We thank you all for being here today and be a part of this initiative. And the final resource we want to share, which we will also be sharing the slides to this presentation and an additional freelancing toolkit. The Career Center has put out a freelancing toolkit, and Lynn and Veronica have also put out a separate toolkit. So we've got lots of exciting resources to follow up on the work of freelancing. So I've done enough talking. I'm so excited to pass things off. And without further ado, Lynn and Veronica, thank you so much.
Whoops. There we go. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lynn Hazan. I've been recruiting for 41 years, the last 25 as founder and president of Lynn Hazan Associates. Our positioning is we are the relationship and storytelling recruiters. We specialize in marketing and communications. And you'll see a chart about that in a second. We also provide career consulting and workshop seminars like the one you're participating in today. My special connection to DePaul is I'm a board member of the MAC, the Marketing Advisory Council at DePaul, and I have literally years and years of not only hosting DePaul interns and also placing them in jobs. I'm also a professional storyteller, and I love incorporating storytelling techniques to help everybody be able to tell your stories or other people's stories as well. Next is to Veronica. Whoops, where did it go? There we go.
Hi everyone, my name is Veronica and I'm a current LHNA intern. I actually go to Loyola University in Chicago, so I'm next door. I'm a sophomore studying marketing as a major and psychology as a minor. Little fun fact about me is that I am a first generation student. Specifically, I am Polish American, which has inspired me to join the Polish Student Alliance e-board. And this year, I have the pleasure of serving as the vice president. So it is very nice to meet you all today.
Our areas of expertise change depending on what our client needs are. At our core, we focus on marketing, communications, public relations, digital, data, advertising, freelance, and career consulting. What's amazing about recruiting is how we follow industry trends or on top of them, because wherever there's a need for talent, there's always a need for what we call best in class talent. And that's where we come in to be the recruiter of choice to find the candidates of choice.
So, of course, today we will be exploring freelance. But before we go into that, we will start with a series of exercises to get you thinking about who you are, what is your story, what are your skills, and what you love doing. So, make sure you're honest because the more honest you are with yourself, the better your outcome during these exercises will be.
This is one of my favorite questions, and we encourage you to participate. Question for everybody. How do you want to be seen? Do you want to be seen as ordinary or extraordinary? So in the chat, if you want to be seen as ordinary, please put the word ordinary in the chat. If you want to be seen as extraordinary, please write the word extraordinary. And I'll give you a second each because it shouldn't be long until you know who you are and how you want to be seen. So Valerie, what are we seeing coming in through the chat?
Extraordinary.
You're 100% right, everybody, because guess what? In all the years that I've done this, every single person wants to be seen as extraordinary. So the question for you to understand is, what does it mean to be extraordinary? Again, if you all want to be ordinary, that's one thing. But if you're extraordinary, you have to add what we call value add. And that's one of my favorite words this semester. Oops. Here we go. Now, this is one of my favorite activities. Marcus Buckingham is an esteemed writer, and I've taken some workshops with him. And I want you to look at these 9 words: advisor, connector, creator, equalizer, influencer, pioneer, provider, stimulator, and teacher. Don't worry about all the definitions that you can get once you do the assessments. On a gut level, pick the 2 words that you feel reflect who you are at your best and write them down. And feel free to put your answers in the chat as well.
Lynn, I'm seeing some great stuff. Connector and creator and stimulator, connector and creator, creator advisor, creator and pioneer, advisor and pioneer. Great stuff here.
Yeah, let's have a look why this is so important. Veronica, who are you?
I am a creator and a connector. Who are you, Lynn?
I'm also a creator. Would you look at that? Why is
Wow.
that important? Because I'm also a teacher. And my creative instincts are so deeply embedded in who I am. I'm always getting ideas, especially in the shower. So it's important for all of us to know where your core strengths are and how you can leverage them. And do the Marcus Buckingham assessment. It's totally free. And you will shine when you can acknowledge what your core strengths are. Here's another activity that I love to do. And why are we doing all of these activities? Because all of these will help you when you think about freelance and how you position yourself as a subject matter expert. Let me give you an example. The 6-word story can be a sentence or individual words. My 6-word story is passionate recruiter loves placing superb talent. You notice it's a sentence. Now, what do we have here? We have next. Why is this misbehaving? Hold on. You see, we did all the prep work and it's still having a mind of its own, just like people. Okay, here we go. Veronica.
My six-word story is values differences, explores opportunities, and grows continuously. Shout out to Griffin, who's one of our other LHNA interns. He's been a great help with putting these slides together. And his six-word story is persistently passionate about connecting with others.
Your job, ladies and gentlemen, is to create your six-word story now. Ready, set, go. And please put them in the chat.
All right, Lynn, we've got our first response. We've got forward-looking leader making a difference. Fantastic.
Ooh, love it. Anybody else?
Still waiting. I think people are excited to be reflecting right now for a moment.
Yeah, it takes some time to come up with 6 precise words that reflect who you are. So don't worry about it.
We got another one. Values diversity, connecting with others, healing. I love that.
Oh, so make sure you write these down. If you're not finished, don't worry. You can finish it later, and a shower also helps.
All right, we got 2 more. Strategic creative thinker, love solving problems. Feel for people, deal with people. Love it.
There you go. So you see, you're in the story. And that's the beauty about the 6-word story. You never know when this 6-word exercise can come in handy, especially when you're interviewing. Here's a quick tip. Why should I hire you? You know how you could potentially answer? Well, I did this very interesting exercise about my 6-word story, and this is what I answered. I'd like to share it with you right now and why it is a good fit for your hiring needs and how I would be a great addition to your team. You get it? And then you cite an example. The world is open to you. It's how you structure it to make you look like the person who is going to be a great fit for the job you are interviewing for. Now, you're all here for
Now,
this exercise. Yes, go ahead, please.
yes. So
Go
now
ahead.
you all have a better idea of who you are. You have your special stories, and now you can apply it to a freelancing career. So, what is freelancing exactly? Freelancing is a paid client service. It could either be one-off or contract work. You could do this for copywriting, graphic design, etc. And remember, do not forget your letter of agreement because that is the simplified contract between you and a client, which will define the scope of work, including your salary and hourly rate. And in order to decide if freelancing is right for you, you could start as an intern. When you start as an intern, you gain samples for your portfolio, work experience. It's a great way to build your resume as you gain expertise and new skills. And it's also a great way to build connections because you learn from professionals who can teach you how you can improve your skills. There's also various options that you can do as an intern, such as paid internships. You can do an internship for academic credit, or you could do an internship just to get life experience so you can apply it down the line.
This next exercise, I owe a huge thanks to Veronica for structuring this activity. If none of you are aware of Rishad Tabakawala, his name is on the bottom. He is a guru, and he has a column that comes out every Sunday for free that you can subscribe to. And it has so much information that you can read and relate to about anything related to careers. Now, what is this all about? What I want everybody to do on your piece of paper is write the following: niche, voice, story, and core expertise. What Veronica did so beautifully is we both read the article and then she put this grid together to be an exercise for everybody to complete on your own. And this is a fabulous way for you to think about who you are, the value you bring, and how you project your voice, which is a very new angle that I've been embracing recently. And as a storyteller, I obviously like the piece about story and your core expertise. On top of all of this, I want everybody to understand how you come across as a human being, because connecting with people is not just about checking off the list and my to-dos and I did this, this, and this, because you are working with people. Let's see what happens. Here's my 9-word story, my exercise, my niche. What am I good at? Recruiting, connecting, intuition. My example is I have your candidate. The voice is how other people describe it. Effective, energizing, confident. My example, storytelling gets people's attention. What's my story? I'm authentic. I'm alive. I'm interactive with my storytelling, and I am a performer. So it brings it together. Now, then you have 9 words. We're going to pick the top word that speaks to you today. And this had a life-altering experience for me. What was my keyword? Intuition. Why? After all these years of recruiting, learning, making mistakes, figuring things out, testing, figuring out more opportunities. My keyword now at this point in my life is intuitive. I have learned my lessons. And when I have an intuitive feeling about a candidate and I say to a client, I have your candidate, I'm saying this based on lots of experience and knowing my talent and knowing my client. And my philosophy is what I call best in class. Veronica.
Yes, so here's my 9-word exercise. So my niche, what I'm good at persevering, being respectful of others, and being understanding of others, which allows me to be patient in every situation. My voice, I actually asked my friends to describe my voice, and they said that I come off as authentic, calm, curious, and I've been able to express myself on my e-board position on the PSA. And what defines my story? I am a first generation student and I'm an explorer. And my example is that I'm curious about learning. So not only do I love school, but I also love learning from other people, other students, and their backgrounds. And therefore, all of these 9 words have led me to my one word that is adaptability. And I chose adaptability because I believe that I am flexible to changes. As a student, it's super important to be open-minded in this quickly changing world. So now you all will have a chance to do your 9-word exercise. Take it away, Lynn.
Thank you. So here's the grid. We're going to give you about 2 minutes to do this exercise. Write down again, I hope you have those words: niche, voice, story, and core expertise. Your goal is to come up with 9 words and examples, and then pick the one word that resonates for you the most and an example. So I'll shut my mouth up so that you can focus. One more minute. 30 seconds. $15. Bing. How is everybody doing? I know it's a short amount of time. Does anybody have either a one word or example or anything you want to share in the chat at this point?
You can also feel free to unmute if you'd like to share verbally.
Sure,
This,
I can go.
sure.
Um, I guess one thing I'm really good at is tenacity. And my example is that when I was doing my partner thesis last year, I was very close to failing it just because I didn't have really good partners. But regardless of the situation, the circumstances, I found a way to pull through, which I think does take that skill.
Excellent. And that can become a great case story for you when you're interviewing. Great. Um, excellent. Does anybody else want to share?
We do have one in the chat from Mohammed. Niche, some of the words identified are logic, critical thinking, and time management. Their voice is wise, intelligent, and curious. Their story is ambitious, relentless, and self-improvement. And their one word boils down to growth.
Excellent.
Fantastic, yes.
Now, what I would really recommend for all of you is think of examples that will bring these keywords to life and be memorable so that when you're in an interview or talking about who you are and why you should be hired, that it'll just roll off your tongue because it's so authentic as to who you are. And when you see the synchronicity between your expertise and what the client is looking for, you will thrive because you found the right place to call home. Veronica, we're in.
So thank you all so much for your amazing responses. We will still be talking about you, but with a little shift onto branding now. So take a look at all of these logos. These logos look very familiar, don't they? McDonald's is McDonald's, Apple is Apple. These are all examples of branding. So according to entrepreneur.com, branding is the marketing practice of creating a name, symbol, or design that identifies and differentiates a product from other products. So you may not be a product, you are a human being, but you can brand yourself as an advisor. So let's go on to the next slide and see how you can do that. So, according to Jeff Bezos, your brand is what people say about you after you leave the room. So, LHNA's brand tagline is "We are storytelling and relationship recruiters." Now, it's your turn. What is your brand tagline as a freelancer? We'll give you guys about a minute to jot down your tagline and feel free to put that in the chat.
This exercise required quick thinking. Do we have anybody ready with a brand tagline? That's good. That's all right, because the most important thing is you need to think. Give yourself permission to think, and you will come up with a tagline that resonates for you, and then it'll be the perfect timing to share.
We do have one, Lynn, that rolled in through. We have a couple now coming in through
Oh,
the chat. People
great,
just
let's
needed a
do it.
minute. We've
Let's do
got
it.
authentic and empowering.
Love it.
I am a visual recounter.
Thank you all so much for sharing. Those are amazing taglines.
They will become like your best friends, and you will have different tools available when you need them. So you can just pull them out of the bag when it is appropriate for you to use, and that way you'll always feel confident. Let's look at tools. Now, this is a very important aspect of what is being needed these days in terms of hiring. Let's look at the first one about technical skills, and I'll give you a story to talk about it. Everybody, look at these technical skills and ask yourself, which one do I have in my toolkit? Do I know how to use Constant Contact or MailChimp? Or now ChatGPT decided to dance at two weddings, so it sneaked in here. And how about Salesforce? So I'm going to tell you a story about Salesforce that happened with one of our recruiting efforts on behalf of a client. A client was looking for a marketing specialist, CRM, customer relationship management. The candidate had to use Salesforce. They initially said, don't recruit. We will fill this job on our own. I said, no problem. It's my client. They can do whatever they want. Guess what, everybody? May, June, July, August. 4 months later, they said, Lynn, we need your help. Guess how many resumes they had candidates applying for this job? Anybody want to put a number in the chat? Put a number. I encourage people, go for it. Don't be shy.
Someone said 100.
Oh, no, no,
Someone
no.
said 300.
Oh, keep going, keep going. Go, 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 everybody. Keep going. Give me a big number.
We got 35,000.
Oh, well,
800.
not that high.
600.
Okay. So
600,
ready,
800.
everybody? 1,330 people applied for this job. How many fit? 0. What did we do? We asked the client what was missing. You see, this is digging deep, everybody. This is what I do with my little shovel. I ask a lot of questions. We asked a lot of questions. What was missing in the talent you saw? And guess what they said? You will laugh, maybe, some of you. The ability to have interpersonal relationships. It's the people factor that I talked about earlier. Because no fault of anybody, a lot of IT people are really good, what I call heads down people. They're very focused on IT or data or whatever they're working on. And that importance of relating to other people, to set as a role model, to teach them, is not necessarily seen as a priority. We completely rewrote the specs. What I haven't told you yet is our philosophy when we hire talent is what I call best in class. And what does best in class mean? Ideally, within the first 3 resume, we find the candidate of choice. How many resumes do you think we submitted? Anybody want to put an answer in the chat?
Someone said 3, 2, 1.
Two. And they hired one, and that candidate is still with them and making a huge impact because he has the skills in terms of Salesforce and the human and interpersonal skills. Guess what, everybody? They had bought Salesforce. No one knew how to use it. It was sitting there and not bringing in any ROI. And as soon as he came into play with his great people skills, he was able to teach everybody, and now everybody's using the tool. So tools alone are not going to be what get you hired. If it's check, check, check on the list and you're working all by yourself and you're never interacting with people, that's one level. When you have to work with your colleagues and be a coach and be a teacher and be a role model, those are a lot of human skills that come into play. So think about what your strengths are. And if you're good with people and like to take on that role, then think about what you bring as an asset to make a difference. Now we just talked about technical skills. Next is what we call creative skills. We have quite a few creatives here. So for example, we've been increasingly using Canva. We love using Canva. Now there's paid versions and unpaid versions and ways that you can use your creative abilities, design, photography. Feel free to enhance what you're creating in Canva. Grammarly, if people don't know how to spell, use it as a tool. However, be careful, even with Grammarly. He and her don't always get tagged by Grammarly or go or got. So you have to use your brain, everybody. Don't rely on Grammarly alone. And maybe you're using Pinterest or the Photoshop or the different tools from the Adobe suite. The most important thing is you will make a difference. The more you can bring hands-on tool experience to make a difference on behalf of the clients who are looking to hire you. And I can tell you, as an experienced recruiter, clients say to me, must have, must have, must have, must have. And if you don't have those skills, they move on. And I'm not saying you have to have everything on the list. One of the key words I want everybody to remember, write it down, is continuous improvement. And that will make a huge impact on you as a viable candidate. One more. This deck has a mind of its own today. It's dancing, so we're going to dance right back to get it in place. You have to have a sense of humor when these things don't always work in the way you expect them to. Now, here we are on AI skills. Does everybody see the light purple background Microsoft Copilot?
Yes.
DePaul University has an agreement, they paid money for this tool, that all DePaul students are able to use Microsoft Copilot on a confidential basis. Because when you use any of these tools, you know, if you're using AI tools, it's also a shout out to the world. You can use my content because it's not confidential. And you have to be very careful about what you put into AI space because somebody else can pick it up. So you have to be careful. So good for DePaul for investing in this so that you have access to them. And again, every day I read a new report. Oh, ChatGPT isn't the go-to source. Now you have to use Claude. You have to think about what fits your needs and be able to determine what you're using it for, how you're using it, read the different reviews, and check out how it fits how you are going to be using these tools. Clearly, we are seeing them not as a replacement, it's a tool. And if you don't use your brain to complement it, you are really depriving yourself of the opportunity to use your brain. Now, on to you, Veronica.
Yes. So hopefully the previous skills inspired you to think about what you're good at. So now think to yourself, what do you absolutely love doing? Maybe it's creating graphic design or doing videography, or perhaps you want to learn more. And that's okay to learn more about an area of interest because that way you can build your skills and continue learning about a new area you could take to do freelancing in. So let's say that you're an expert in using social media tools or coding, you can put your expertise to use and make some money off of it. So as a student, monetizing your skills is very valuable because it's extra money that you could put in your pocket. So long story short, take what you love, refine your skills, and become an SME who gets something in return.
This is one of my favorite quotes that I want everybody to etch in your brain. It's really easy. It's called W5 plus H. It's what we call the journalist mantra. You're in an interview, you're thinking about doing a gig, whatever it is, the best guidance you can give yourself is to ask good questions. I really like to ask questions in case you didn't know. So, who do you want to work for? What do you want to do? When do you want to start? Where do you want to do it? Why do you want to go into the business? And how to get there? If you have a hard time remembering, just remember W5 plus H. And the more you are clear about what's going to make you happy and where you can use your skills as a freelancer or learning to refine them to create demand for your talent, the more confident you will appear when you're interviewing for those kinds of projects or basically anything you want to do, because it's taking a holistic approach to who you are, what talents you bring, and where you can have an impact, whether you're working full-time freelance or want to consider freelance as a possible career track.
So freelance jobs aren't a one size fits all. There's actually various types of freelance work that you can do. So for example, there's temp to perm work. Work could be project based, And there's also fractional work for more experienced professionals. So once you gain more expertise in a certain area of freelancing, you can build up your skills and consider this as a career option down the line. So we have to be responsible and warn you guys of some potential challenges of freelancing. So freelancing can be challenging because competition is very high right now since freelancing is becoming popular. You don't necessarily receive benefits since you're not working full time. You might receive late or no payments if you do not meet deadlines. And work can be isolating since it's just a one-person business. You are the only person running your freelance business. However, have no fear. There are many advantages to freelancing as well. Freelancing has flexible hours because you can create them. You have location independence, diversified income because once again, it's extra money that you can put into your pocket. It's a great way to expand your skill sets because there's just many avenues that you could take and many resources that you can learn from and how you can expand your skill sets. Freelancing is also a great way to work out the kinks and see what works for you and what doesn't. And once you realize what works for you, you can just continue building on those skills for your career. And freelancing also provides a great foundation for potential business in the future. So, how should you set yourself up for success in a freelancing career? So, I'm currently an intern and I'm doing an internship to see what I'd like to do. And you can do this as for freelancing as well. So, start as an intern during college. This will help you determine, is this something you enjoy doing? It can also help you realize what strengths do you bring. So, once you find something that works for you, you can keep building on those skills. Being an intern will help you understand your must-haves, your nice-to-haves, and where your capability of learning lies. And also, this will help you understand that deadlines are super important because just because you're on spring break does not mean that your client is. So it just builds your responsibility as well.
When you are creating work, whether it's actual produced work, you have to always make sure whether your produced work can be shown. So you have to double check about that no matter what you do. Or it could be work that you're creating on speculative work or speculation. The key thing is when you put a portfolio together, you want to include your resume with it. So it's the right hand and the left hand go together and your published work. Make sure you put your most recent work first and your earlier work. And actually, it's very interesting to see the progression over time, how you've grown and how your work has matured. And make sure your URL has your first name and last name. Make sure that you check out free tools. We like free. So Unsplash, Wix, Canva, and Pexels. Very important. I want to reinforce this. Always Google yourself to see what comes up. I can tell you there's a few other Lynn Hazans with the exact same spelling. And there's one that spells her last name with E-N. It's like, who are you? And it's not like I have a name like Smith in the United States. So it's very important to distinguish yourself from other people who might even have the same name. Here is a warning, everybody. Ding, 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 ding. Pay attention. Why? Because this happened to me. Do not ever, ever download any images on Google that have a copyright in it. Do you see at the bottom where it says 2026, there's that little copyright symbol right before it? You never want to download any images or headlines that have a copyright symbol on it because that is somebody else's work. And years ago, when we were all starting on all this journey, this was all new to us. And two of my interns downloaded some images and ouch, I got fined and I had to pay. And I had no idea taking a picture of matzah, which is a cracker that we use during Passover, was going to make me liable. Another one was some Olympic years back, and there was a picture of a torch. And I had to pay a fine back to a French magazine. So be careful, everybody. You need to protect yourself. If no one has ever told you this, this is your word of warning. Very important. Here's a toolkit extra that I want to talk about. It's what we call the WOW project. I invented this and I have been teaching this to my candidates ever since. Now, I'm going to do part A and B to this. Let's say you are interviewing for a full-time job. I'll get to freelance in a minute. You're interviewing, it's going well, and you sense that the timing can be perfect for you to say, I'm very interested in this job. I have a few ideas that I'd like to share with you. Pause. And then you show some samples of your ideal work or what you could contribute as an employee or as a freelancer. We're going to wait on freelance for a minute, okay? This is what we call the WOW project. It shows initiative, capability, spontaneity, and no one else does them. You are taking the initiative. And what happens, and I can tell you for fact that when our clients are interviewing candidates, what comes out of their mouth immediately? Wow, literally. And then they run around saying, this is what we should be doing. Now watch what happens. See, the WOW project can be 30, 60, 90-day plan. It could be a big idea. Think of what will separate you from your competition. And guess what, everybody? You often will get more money by taking the initiative. Now, think of yourself as applying for a freelance gig. You have to be careful, so I'm telling you this in advance. If you are ready to submit your WOW project, you must put something that says sample so that they do not say, oh, look, you gave me a present. I can use it. And they don't necessarily need your permission because you gave it to them as a sample without any stipulation. So you have to be careful to protect your intellectual property, your samples as well. Or you can show the work and take it back. And that way you can demonstrate your capability, your initiative to make a difference, and show some ideas that show that you are separating yourself from the competition. Not everybody is ethical, I have to tell you. I have gone through these myself. And you want to make sure that you protect your assets, your intellectual property, and your creative ideas. So only you can judge if the timing is right, if the material you have sent is good to share in the moment. Some people often update their WOW project and send it with a thank you note. Make sure you also send a thank you note. The key thing is, I want you to trust your intuition if the moment is right for you to share it. And if not, there are other ways for you to separate yourself from the competition.
Lynn, I just want to let you know we've got about 5 more minutes before we open up for Q&A.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you all to do the following. I'm not going to go point by point about freelancing as a US student, because you will have access to all the content, all right? Definitely, if you're an American citizen, you can freelance. If you have different work visas, you have to double check what applies to you, and you can read this in more detail. The Freelance Worker Protection Act as of 2024 stipulates you need written contracts and dates and commissions and salaries, and it must be signed. Make sure you protect yourself. Then how you pay your taxes. Make sure that you get resources, legal help with people perhaps from the DePaul department to protect yourself. Not everybody is ethical. And how to start it, you need to register your brand name, sign up for different platforms, network with other professionals, and you can get the inside tips about what works and what doesn't work and what you need to consider. We've been hiring freelancers for a long time. Guess what, everybody? One of my freelancers has been working for the exact same client for over 19 years. So this is a very robust part of our business model as well. We've placed writers, music people, design people, web developers, and they live all over the United States. And this has been part of our model to keep reinvigorating what we do on behalf of our clients. And with that, why does it keep dancing? It wants to make a difference. All right, so here with this next slide, I swear we rehearsed this, and this was not meant to do the dance marathon. Okay, so there we go. Okay, quick talk about VUCA. This is a very important concept. VUCA literally describes the world that we're living in today. Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, yet there's another VUCA model, and it's the antidote to VUCA, also VUCA. Vision, understanding, clarity, and agility. This is what you can all do to demonstrate the value, your worth, and your contribution as freelancers or whatever you choose to do. Then, quick tip about LinkedIn is that it is your public persona. It's always evolving. Your resume highlights your accomplishments. They have two different purposes. All right. One quick view, because this one is really, really important. It is an AI tool. It's called 2pr.io. Write it down. Why is this important? It will evaluate your LinkedIn profile. Look what happens. There's two steps, step one, step two. And all you have to do is fill them in, take a picture if you want to help you, or you'll get this complete list tomorrow. What it does, and I'll show you as an example. I did 2pr.io. It's a free tool, and it gives me a list of qualities and my grading, 86, 80, 90, 90, etc. And it gives me recommendations of how I can improve my LinkedIn profile. Remember, this is free. What you can also do is a month later, do it again and see what difference it is. This is priceless, literally, and it's free. So use it to test yourself. And with that, we're going to talk about the elevator pitch real quick. Veronica, go for it fast.
So your elevator pitch is your 30 seconds to shine. So this is how you present yourself about what you can bring to your client. So make sure you practice, practice, practice because practice makes perfect. Do this in front of a mirror, record yourself. And I know it sucks listening to your voice, but trust me, it helps. And this is also a moment to use your wow project. So take
What's it say?
action.
What's your
The
pitch?
pitch.
Everybody, you can start your new headline with "A new chapter begins." And with that, if you want to intern at LHNA, you can take a picture of this QR code. And just one more thing, here's our contact information. Before Basanti leads us in Q&A, I just want to let you know that we have a resource kit available for you. It's our gift to you, added value, and there's lots of information. This is also part of your kit that you will receive. So what we're going to do right now is bring us back to Basanti, and take it away, Basanti.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lynn and Veronica. That was incredible. You shared so much incredible information with us. I'm happy that we can share this so that students can further digest all of this great info. We're going to open it up now for Q&A. I do have one question that I want to start us off, but then I really want students to start populating the chat. We can read them aloud. It's even better if you unmute and give yourself a little face time. Ask those questions. So the first question I want to put forth to both of you is, when you're new and don't have much of a portfolio yet, how can you market yourself and stand out to attract some of your first clients? I know we've been doing a lot of great work to build the brand, to understand who we are. What does that look like in real time when we're trying to get those first clients?
Great question. I'll give you two answers: spec work and samples that you did for school projects. The more they can see your thought process and what your samples demonstrate about your ability to make a difference and how you resolve an issue. Write down these words: problem or need, opportunity or challenge, strategy and tactics, results, and what you did with the results. So when you walk through your samples, it is representative of a case study and how you solved it. And you can also come in for an interview and come up with a sample project specifically for that interview and walk them through. Believe me, they will be very impressed that you thought of something that you could do. Write this word down: add, second word, value, because they want to know how you think and solve issues or problems on their behalf.
Yes, and I can confirm taking school projects and using those, and also doing volunteer work. For example, I did marketing for a friend who makes handmade jewelry, and I was able to use those projects or posts that I created during a job application, and I will be starting that job next week. So you just have to take the initiative.
Thank you so much. And having that tangible example, Veronica, is so helpful. I want to open it up now. I have other questions that I'm happy to ask that were pre-populated from students, but students, it's your time now to ask those questions in real time. Go ahead and unmute or start populating them in the chat. I'll just give you a few seconds. Camille, go ahead. Thank you.
Hi, so I wanted to ask, So a lot of my class projects do utilize some media pulled from Google. Am I able to use that in my portfolio?
Do they have copyright symbols on them?
No.
And who can you trace it back to?
Um, I have not thought that far, I'll be honest.
Okay, here's an idea. Anytime you want to use samples that are available on Google, to be courteous, what I would suggest is contact the person and ask for permission. You will win friends and influence people, and they will feel respected and acknowledged because it's that person's idea. And you don't want to be accused of plagiarism. And it's also professional.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other questions for Lynn and Veronica? All right, I've got another question that was pre-populated by students. How do freelancers figure out how to price their services, especially when balancing what clients will pay with the time and effort a project requires?
Great question. Do your research. A career placement office at DePaul, do you have those kinds of resources available to you? Because great, Basanti nodded her head, yes. The key thing is, where are you in your life? How much work have you done? Are you approaching this as a trained professional or as a student? So obviously, if you have 10 years of experience, your billing rate is going to be higher. If you're just starting out and want to build your portfolio, you might want to think a little bit more on the lower side. So it's more important for you to get your work published or done, and you can put that as part of your portfolio and put them on your client list. Some candidates will even do it for free. It all depends on your level of comfort in the work that you're doing. I would always I would recommend that you do get paid, because then you will feel valued and your worth is not being taken for granted, because clients can get fussy too. They, oh, no, this isn't good. This isn't good. And I want this and I want that. And they might not also be giving you the proper direction and feedback that you need. So you need to work out the terms of agreement, timeline, deliverables, how many rewrites that you need to do, so that you're respecting their time and they're respecting your time, so that they understand. Because I can tell you from experience, when I do job specs, clients don't always know what they want either. And by looking and seeing ideas and different plans, like I have 3 creative ideas that I'd like to show you. Plan A, plan B, plan C. Which one resonates for you? And you take a different angle so that they have 3 completely different angles to review your work and how it resonates, how they feel emotionally towards it. You may want to use some AI tools, but remember, you want to sound authentic, because if they feel that it is generic and they can get the same results by putting in some of the questions into AI, then it's kind of like, why should I pay you for this? I can do it on my own. Remember, creative is a process. Like I said earlier, I get some of my best ideas in the shower or incubate them overnight. Don't do it like, oh, I have a midnight deadline, I have to get it in, because you will rob yourself the opportunity to keep thinking and keep refining your ideas. So do it according to a budget that makes sense. And obviously, talk to the DePaul people. I can tell you that competitive pricing is important, because they will value who you are. And if you do it for free, then they don't always appreciate what you have to offer. On the other hand, sometimes a company is the company that you want to get on their list, and you could say, I'd like to volunteer the first project, and if things work out well, then we'll start a paying program once this one is authenticated and used. So this way, you want to create a win-win situation for everybody.
Thank you so much, Lynn. A question came through in the chat from John. I want to give you, John, an opportunity to unmute and ask your question if you'd like. Okay, I'll go ahead and ask the question. How do you exemplify that you are a sociable person, aside from just being polite and asking questions?
Very good question. Veronica, try that answer, and I'll also answer it as well, because Veronica is really good at being social.
I tried, thank you. Um, I would say, especially as Gen Z, I know with our phones, there's a lot going on in the background. At least I'm speaking for myself. Like, I'm always thinking about what's going on somewhere else. What I suggest is literally take a moment to take a deep breath and be present. Presence is so important these days. So, if you are able to make someone else feel welcome and just show them a smile, show them that you are willing to give them your time, you will get your foot in the door and you will just come off as a better person. So that's my 2 cents on that.
And very well stated. What I would add to that as well is eye contact. Make sure that your head is up and you see each other eye to eye and smile. Here's another tip. I want to make sure everybody understands this. You might feel a little uncomfortable. So I would always recommend, again, take a breath before you go in and practice ahead of time. One of the things that you can say is, I'm very excited about the opportunity to meet you. And I see when I looked in your LinkedIn profile that you're very active in volunteer projects with not-for-profits. I also am very interested because I am involved with our school projects in working in our women in business group or whatever organizations you're involved with. How has that helped you in your life? Or whatever you see about them that can sound authentic that you want to engage in conversation with. And sometimes it's asking one of the W5 questions because WH plus 5. And no, W5 plus H. See, even me, I can make mistakes with that kind of wording. The key thing is watch how you use your wording. No ums, no uhs, you knows, and. The more confident you sound, the more you will be seen as a person who can hold your own in a conversation. What do you love about your job? What brings you joy? See the W's there? You can ask those questions because guess what? You ask a good question and people will feel seen and they will elaborate on it. And you've been here for 3 years. What's been a high point in your career? And that will open up the channels for conversation.
All right, we've got time for one more question. John is also expressing gratitude for responding to that.
Thank you.
Final question is, what platforms are best for finding freelance work today, or kind of sharing your freelance opportunities with new clients? How important are social media and networking? You've spoken to that already. What are some of the top programs or platforms that students can start promoting themselves or looking for clients?
Great question. If you go back in the deck, you'll see some of the areas that you can look for freelance gigs and opportunities. Like all of them, remember they are agencies. So they have to vet talent. Just because you are on the list doesn't mean you'll automatically get invited to pitch for a freelance project. It's very important that you have a great resume, samples of your work and portfolio. They might ask you questions like, what is your hourly rate? Do you work virtually? Are you available to come into the office? So do your research. Number two, get active on LinkedIn because you can, and I've been recommending candidates because a lot of people who have had full-time jobs, their jobs have been cut. And they are raising the bar on their behalf by creating content on LinkedIn. And that way, you'll see how many people are following you, liking your content, and then adding comments. It's very hard. I have to tell you, human behavior is such, very few people write comments. One way for you to rise to the occasion is for you to write content, for you to be raising your visibility on LinkedIn, and then people will start to follow you. One word of caution. When you are looking for a freelance gig, do not hang out the I am sad sign and I have lost my job, I have to pay my rent and all of that, because there's so many people putting those messages out. And again, I'm not denying people's reality check. What I'm saying is that you want to come across with confidence of what you can do to be a person who is a problem solver and who can help people in need of talent. And then you can gauge what other people are doing and look at their profiles and how they are differentiating themselves so they are seen as the candidate of choice. It does mean that you have to do some research and ask yourself, how do I compare myself with the other person who is positioning himself, herself as a freelancer? And do your homework. What is unique about you? Your unique positioning statement, your UPS.
Fantastic. All right. That is our time. I want to thank you again, Lynn and Veronica and Valerie, for supporting as well. Shout out to all the students who came out on a Friday during lunch hour. This is the end of your Network Your Narrative. We are so excited to close out this amazing initiative. We couldn't do it without everybody who's in this space. I've dropped a few additional resources in the chat. Please feel free to continue to connect with Lynn and Veronica. I'll be sending a follow-up with all of the resources, including this presentation. Again, a lot of great information. You'll have plenty of time to dig in and digest. Thank you so much and have a wonderful weekend and rest of the day. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.